a couple of pro wrestlers that were in the indies, and they were just kind of like, they were training on the side. And I'm like, oh, could I come to that when I'm healed? They're like, yeah, sure. So I
Right.
went over there. There was a couple indie guys. I'll name Javier. He's anymore, but he's awesome. And there's a couple of guys. Chris Caliber, one of his guys' name is. I don't know if you really know who he is because it's been a long time, but he was excellent too. They were all trained by Mikey Whipwreck. So when the time was right for me, as I exited high school, I went to NYWC. Although Mikey was basically on his way out, even though I had a little bit of training with him, but nothing significant, unfortunately. I worked with Crusher Dugan, God rest his soul, who was just such a great guy. He was trained by the Malenkos, to my style right away. And then after that, Pat Buck took over as the head trainer. But I will put some special honorary notes. Tony Nese, my friend John Silver, Alex Reynolds, Papa Don. Those guys were always putting in extra hours,
Right.
teaching me as well and cultivating my career. So that's the gist of it.
A lot of great trainers in there.
Oh yeah, man. It was amazing being around those guys. Really.
I bet. Did you know Alvin?
Yeah, I know Alvin. Alvin started around the same time that I was in the same training class as Rex Lawless.
Oh, okay.
That's the same training class. I believe Alvin. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. He started maybe a little bit after me, but I mean he's another guy. He just had an awesome triple threat with Apollyon and Tony Nese of the Psycho Circus.
He
Hell
did.
of a guy. Hell of a guy.
He did. I was there.
Yeah. It was a good show.
It was a great show. It was a great show.
Oh yeah, great. Always is.
Serena says, "Hey, hi,
Hey,
Serena.
what's up, Serena? How are you?
Yeah, I can't wait for Aftermath.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, my eyes are definitely being kept on what's happening, and there's a couple of people I might have listed before that might have some unfinished business, and sometimes men got to finish business like men. So
Right.
I'll leave you to watch and see.
All right, all right. I will definitely be at that event. All right, let's go into now. You finished training. You have your first match. Who was your first opponent, and what kind of emotions or your thought process really as you were going through that first match?
So I'll give you my first NYWC match because it's just it's such a story. It was actually in a match with Bruno Marciano and Tony Mamaluke in a tag match.
Oh, okay.
There's a tag team called the Mansfields. They were
Uh-huh.
awesome, and one of them couldn't make the show. And I remember, I was out flyering, and then we had some dude. I get a call like, "Hey, we need you at the show like now because you're going to be on the show." I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, you're going to be on the show, and like you're first, so get the heck back here." I'm like, "Oh crap!" So like got the flyers out to the other guys. I drove back really quick.
Uh-huh.
And I felt all this pressure because I had been training for some time. Like I said, those guys that I had met before, I had trained with them. I had done some like pre-shows elsewhere, but this is my first actual match in the home company of where I officially trained.
Right.
So and it's with a guy who I watched on TV, and Tony Mamalik, right? And I remember I was really nervous, and at first he I don't know how he felt about wrestling me. And then when I got out there, though, I really got it together. And the highlight of it is I remember I took a clothesline from him and I kind of did like a fold up bump.
Uh-huh.
And backstage, he's like smiling and gets backstage. He's like, nobody's ever done that for me before. And he's like, you really took a good bump for me. And then like he took a liking to me and he sat down with me and he's like, I know you're young. And he gave me
Right.
some really great advice. He goes, listen, a lot of guys are going to tell you to just give 100,000% to wrestling, and you should. But he's like, do not forget about college. He's like, do not forget that you could get hurt sometime and you might not be able to do this. So he's like, wrestling will always be here. He's like, just remember to take care of yourself. And that's
Right.
something that always stuck with me, that he gave me that advice. So really good first experience. That's it. It was really awesome.
Awesome. How was the crowd?
It was great. I mean, they were live. I mean, NYWC crowds, they're loyal fans, and they were really into it. Tony Mommel was there. I mean, it was amazing. And I remember it was it supported him, and they were loud and alive for everything, and everything that I was supposed to do was done very well. And for my
Right.
first time ever in that atmosphere, I did pretty good. And I'm proud of that one. I'm very proud.
Awesome. Yeah, the crowd there is really, really good. Yeah.
Oh
I,
yeah,
I, I enjoy every time I go, I have a great time. So
yeah. It's always great. It's always good.
awesome. Let's talk about your favorite opponent you've wrestled in your career, whether it be because you had great chemistry or
You know,
whatever.
that's the hardest question like ever.
You know
Um,
what? People always say that to me, but I feel like it's so simple. And I'm asking these simple questions. They're like, yo, that was really hard. I don't understand you, Papa.
you know what it is like, there's so many people I enjoy being in the ring with for different reasons.
Uh-huh.
People just make you laugh the whole time. Some people bring out a certain intensity in you. Sometimes it's the stories you can put together. But I guess I have to choose one. And the guy I'm going to have to choose
Okay.
is Anthony Gangone.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be honest with you because, because there's so many guys that are up here, but
Right.
that like could circulate my brain. But we had a match back in 2015.
Mhm.
The House of Glory, and I was working for Fight the World Wrestling that match. Like show, versus each other, whatever. And we've been wanting to wrestle each other for the longest time. And the crowd was packed. It was in Queens at the Elksboro.
Right.
And it was one of those nights, everything clicked. I don't like just every single part of that match, the way that we had thought in our brain it would go, went that way. And I feel like it's not a bad thing. You can have a match that doesn't go the way you plan. It's still great because no one knows what you plan besides you.
Right.
And just something about the way it flowed and went. I remember Rhino was like standing standing backstage waiting for us. And that was an excellent match. Like he was like raving about it. And just to like have that kind of, it was like, I think maybe for me, it was just a special moment because it was the first real, like solid, to me, like main event. Nobody, like, it wasn't like I was working with another name. I had great matches with Jay Lethal, and that's why I
Right.
wanted to say it first. But the fact that we weren't established names and that we were kids that had a chip on our shoulder and wanted to prove we fucking belong. Sorry, I cursed. We proved it.
No,
that
you can curse.
yeah, we wanted. We had a fucking point to make, and we had chips on our shoulder, and we've been trying to get this match together, and there wasn't the same confidence that we had. We were like, we're gonna fucking go out there and we're gonna show them.
Yeah.
I'm just still so proud of it, man, and it was great. So I will give a nod to it, Gangone, because that was just such a special moment.
He's such a great guy too. Let me tell you.
Yeah, just there's a lot of acquaintances in wrestling, and there's friends, but he's a real friend for sure.
He's definitely gone out of his way to say hello to me or say what's up, and
he's very talented. Like he is extremely
100%.
It's great. He's one of those. Like he reminds me of Alex Reynolds, where it's like until you're in there with him, you're like, holy shit, he's fucking ridiculously good.
Yeah. Now they call him Dr. Sleep, right?
Yeah.
Did he ever put you to sleep?
Let the record show I beat that son of a bitch.
Okay.
Twice. So I made the doctor go to sleep himself. Just call me.
I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna say, yo, Joe put you to sleep.
Yeah, and if he wants, I've been ready for round 3 for a long time. But we've been allies recently.
I know. I've seen that.
And listen, and I say that even though I put him to sleep, I'm not saying he's not capable. I'm just saying it happened. So
I know he comes out wearing your shirt when you guys are teaming together.
Because I because of the respect that I have for him, and brought him back into a place where he felt his best confidence wise, and I helped change his life, and he's just shown me respect for that.
I see the shirt, yeah,
and I never. It's what I do, Papa. I change lives.
You change people's lives. That's right. I kind of changed his life for a moment too. At the last PPW show, I gave him it was his birthday, and he's just been so nice to him. Like, I got to get him something, and I got him like this. He's a big horror guy, as you must know by now. So I got him this big Funko Pop of Chucky, right? And then I got him this poster of the Child's Play original. And when he's opening it, he's like, "Oh, look at this, Johnny Pop, Chucky, blah blah." And then he's like, "Oh, look at this poster." And then he like looks in the corner. He's like, "Is this what I think it is?" I'm like, "Yeah." It was signed by the director himself.
Oh man,
I left him speechless. But then he told me he still hates me.
Classic. That's classic Gangone. That's awesome.
Classic Gangone. That's right. All right, let's go into your favorite type of gimmick match would be.
A favorite gimmick match? Okay. It's definitely not a ladder match. I'm not a fan. Those ladders hurt.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
hear, I hear.
I don't like to jump off things. Uh, my favorite one I've ever done is cage. I love the cage match. It's old
Okay.
school. Like it's one of those moments you're like, oh yeah, I'm a pro wrestler. This is awesome. They don't happen that often. It's usually the end of a feud, at least to the companies I've worked for.
Right.
And I always enjoyed it. I've actually really, it's one of those matches I had a lot of earlier on in my career, more so,
Right.
where I think here's the thing. Not that the matches were bad, but as you mature as a performer, there's little nuances of details of things you don't think about that as you mature, you're like, oh man, only if I had. So I've been waiting to have another cage match. To any promoters out there that's hearing this,
Right.
to really, like, I've had so many ideas bottled up because I've watched back and like, I would have done this, would have done this. But yeah, it's the cage. That's it. That's a good answer.
Okay. What about gimmick match you haven't been in that you want to be in?
Oh, that's a good one. Gimmick match I really want to be in that I've never been singles tables.
Oh, all right. That would be a good one.
That would be fun. I love table. I mean, who doesn't like tables?
Who doesn't like tables?
I mean, seriously, you want to see them break. So there it goes. A table match. I would like to have a table match.
Same thing with doors matches.
Yeah, I haven't done that either. Screw it. Anything that goes boom and is wood.
It just cracks like that, right?
I just want to see the debris go everywhere and throw somebody through it.
That's right. Have you ever done anything with kendo sticks?
I think I've gotten hit with one once. I once did like an 8-man tag with and Sandman was in it. It was actually cool. It was like all the ECW.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, pretty sure he whacked me in the back with it. Like he was chasing us out at the end. He was I got hit. I was kind of happy I got hit, to be honest.
Right, because it's the Sandman.
It's yeah. So yeah, that's it though. Nothing more than that. Just a rogue shot from a legend.
Okay, let's go into. I didn't should have asked this sooner, but I didn't. We just jumped into a different subject. Wrestler you want to wrestle that you haven't wrestled
anywhere.
Chad Gable.
It's funny you asked this because I was gonna write this on Twitter like a week ago, and then I forgot to press send, and I just let it go. But I was watching the match he just recently had with Cody.
Yeah.
There's so many talented dudes, and like it's one of those things. It's hard to say, and I don't want to disrespect anybody, but man, almost every single time I watch Chad Gable wrestle, I'm like, man, I think he's my dream match. It's partially probably because Kurt Angle really, in my heart, is like the person I always wished I could wrestle, and Chad, like, literally like watching Angle this generation with his, and not just his ability in the ring, the fact he has such a ridiculously good personality and such charisma. It's amazing, and I think he's like, I really think that guy will be world champion one day, and I want to wrestle him terribly. Yeah,
charisma is very important in this in wrestling business.
Oh,
whether you're a wrestler or an announcer or something, you gotta have a little charisma. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, something about you that people watch you, right? And
absolutely,
like, Cable's an Olympian that has that it factor and just is so fluid and crisp and clean. And he's just he's powerful.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just love to watch him.
Right. Looks like they're giving him a push from what I'm reading.
Yeah, he's been wrestling on Raw almost every week against top talent and all them. I mean, he's a guy I go out of my watch every single time. And I know we can do some. I know he would pull the best out of me. I know that he'd pull the best athletically out of me, and I would be forced to stay on par as like an entertainer as well. And that's what's exciting about thinking about wrestling him. And if Kurt Angle was a special referee, that would really just be like,
that'd be the icing on the cake.
That's the icing on the cake, man.
All right, let's go into. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Say that again.
I'll wish it to the world. I'll wish it to the universe. Maybe it'll come to me.
Maybe. Hey, you never know.
Never know.
All right, let's go into. You were recently on AEW Dark.
Sure,
How was that experience? Man. Talk about your experience on AEW.
It's been great so far. I've done three. I've been there three times.
Mm,
The first time I was there, I worked with Sonny Kiss, who I've known for God knows how long, and then last time it was Parker Boudreaux, big man.
mm.
Both times I was there, very. It's rewarding, you know. I really, you have so many great minds around you. Um, I'd say a bit more trepidatious to talk to some of the producers and stuff. But
Okay.
this last trip it was amazing. I felt more comfortable. Everyone kind of knew who I was from the last time.
Right.
Obviously, the friends that I know has been cool with, but just talking to producers a little bit more. One of the cool thing that happened last time I was there is a family member of mine had some substance abuse issues, and they were huge Jake Roberts fans. So for that person's birthday, I ordered a cameo from Jake Roberts, and I
Oh
gave him a
wow.
little backstory on. And Jake sent this like 10-minute long heartfelt message to my family
Wow.
member about what he had went through and stuff. And that person has been clean and sober ever since. So
That's awesome.
this is from about a year ago. So I was backstage and I saw Jake was there and he's been having health issues. I never knew if I'd see him in person. And I got to
Right.
just pull him to the side and I'm like, hey, thank you. Like what your message helped so much. You have no idea. It gave me another day and many days like that person's going to be at my wedding. Um, and it was
Awesome.
cool. And he gave me a hug. It was like that, to be honest with you, that was the most rewarding part about being in AEW was
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
that moment.
Personal connection. Yeah.
Yeah, but besides from that, so like I got to get to the wrestling part. When I knew I was wrestling Parker, I was really excited because I know the value they have in him
Mm,
there. I mean, he's being built as something, and I was like, okay, I have a singles match, which is great because I have a lot of that focus. When you're in a multi-man match, it's kind of hard to show what you got in there. Now I can show what I got, and I
right.
knew what my objective was, and I knew that if I was able to, if I was able to leave that match with everyone looking at Parker like, man, that guy's a star, but that guy Joe really put up a fight, then I
Right.
did my job and I didn't look so bad doing it, and that was the feedback I got, which was really awesome.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and
Oh,
there was I did like the one of the two moves I did was a diving headbutt that I've been working on, and I
uh,
got like a GIF was made out of it and got retweeted. It was cool. It was a
that's
really great,
awesome.
and when you have a good performance like that, you're more likely to be asked back, and the snowball
Come
gets
back.
built.
Right.
And I think so. I'm pretty confident you'll see me again in AEW.
Awesome. Did you get any advice from any other producers or any other talent
Um,
that
you know,
you could take with you?
you know, um, I heard that in one of the practices at one of the wrestling schools that one of the producers owns, they were saying that I was somebody that would be brought back because I knew my job and I did it exactly the way it should be done while looking strong. And to know that I was spoken to students about because of my performance, and that to me is like, that was huge.
Right.
People that were there, it was all positive. I mean, that there was no big, it was hey, no, you really did your job well. And I always seek criticism, not praise, but for the most part, I got praise. Just from everybody, all the talent there, all my friends, like Bear Bronson was there, very
Right.
supportive of me. He's he's awesome. He's just a great person.
Yeah. You know what? He really is awesome. I bumped into him. I work for Walmart. I'm a manager at Walmart, and I used to work in
Cool.
Middle Island. And he was just in there shopping, like way before AEW. I just knew him
Yeah.
from Creative Pro. I'm like, hey, you're Bear Bronson. He's like, you know who I am? I said, yeah, I know who you are. He's like, oh, it's cool, man. Thank you. Thank you. He shook my hand and everything. So
So
he's such a nice guy.
yeah, no, he's told me before, which was so cool that because I struggled with obesity when I was young as he did, and so he knew my story before he was a wrestler, and he said I was an inspiration to him to start wrestling, which was like mind blowing to me because that's when I actually the first AEW that I did, that's when I actually talked to him in person because I never
Oh, okay.
just never we never of all the shows we've
Right.
missed each other, we never had that interaction. And it
Yeah.
was really cool when he told me that. And I was like, hey, man, like, you're doing fantastic. And we just, we kind of just became, friends from there.
Right.
But he's always been super supportive ever since. And yeah, he was one of the first guys to like, when we were going over the match and things I should do and be mindful of in this
Mhm.
environment, whether it's like facial expressions or whatever, or this camera, like he was like the first to be there, like, hey, look for this,
Right.
look for this. And yeah, like I said, everyone, Parker's a really good dude, man. He big guy,
Right.
great shape, just good human being for sure.
Okay.
It's good to be someone like that half gas.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
man, like everything about W is awesome. It's awesome being at Universal Studios. I mean, like, even though you're not going on the rides, you hear everybody having fun right behind you. The catering. I mean, it's just it's great weather. Being in New York, it's great to be out of
Oh,
this crap. So,
yeah, the
yeah,
weather's been terrible.
yeah, good, not been good.
I wish I could move to Florida, man.
I,
All right, let's go. Let's jump out of wrestling for a moment. What are some of your hobbies that you like? Whether it's a good movie, a good book, some
yeah, so I'm
collecting.
a big movie TV guy.
Oh, okay.
I've always loved the world of entertainment. My fiance and I are the same. We're big into watching movies and TV shows after like we settle in after our days of work.
Mhm.
Besides that, lifting weights. I work and just exercise in general. I work out every day, usually twice a day. Um, and those like I mean, literally, that's like my life on repeat. It's like watch a movie or a show with the fiance, work
Right.
out, help train people, repeat.
Yeah.
Those are my biggest hobbies.
Twice a day is hard, man. I go once a day.
Yeah,
I
right.
go like 5, 6 days a week, and it's tough, man.
Yeah,
How do
it's
you
not.
do it twice a day?
I mean, so I'll do my cardio. I try to do fasted cardio in the morning. If that's not going to work, I'll
Uh-huh.
lift first. And like I actually have really long days too, because I train people all day. I usually start 5:30 in the morning, like six
Right.
thirty at night. And so my breaks, if I have a break in between a private or whatever,
Mhm.
I'll get the first workout in, and then I'll do my last workout whenever my second break is or after my last shift is done. But for me, it's a necessity to stay. I'm 31 now. Not that I'm by any means old,
Right.
but I'm not 21 anymore. So I feel like I have to stay ahead of the curve. And while my body is in the shape it's in and can take 2 workouts a day, I got to do it to stay ahead of the curve. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But it's tough, man. It's taxing.
It's not easy.
If I'll put it this way, if I wasn't actively competing, I would definitely still work out, but I maybe things would be toned down a bit. But it's that mentality of
Right.
somebody out there is working harder than you, and you got to keep that in mind. The days you want to slack and not work as hard, hey, this is what it takes to be elite,
Right.
to make your name and to get TV contracts. It's not sitting on your ass. So that's
Right.
kind of keep my mind go for it.
Okay. What are some of the? Because I'm fascinated by this. I work out, so
Yeah,
I try to like, and it's really hard when you want to eat,
yeah.
and you're like me. I'm in a retail environment, so
Uh,
like I'm fast paced, so I gotta eat fast. So like even when like I'm out with my friends, like I'm
yeah,
eating fast, and they're like, "Why are you eating so fast? Slow down." Like this is just how I am now because all the years I've been doing it. So
yeah.
what are some of the best foods you think would be good to eat when you're in that type of uh, gym mentality?
Oh man, I mean high protein. Hey, at least a gram of protein per uh, pound of tissue.
Mhm.
Tissue. I eat. I mean, and besides from that, high fibrous foods, healthy fats, but that's always going to be the lowest of your macros for me at least. And depending on if you're bulking or cutting, it's going to be higher or lower carbohydrates. But I try to have balanced meals, anywhere from 5 to 6 times a day, sometimes even more. With protein shakes going to be a part of that, of course.
Right.
But typical day, if it goes things goes the way I want, I'll have my egg whites. I have about a carton of egg whites, 2 whole eggs, and I'll have that usually with a cup of oatmeal. Then it's going to be basically the same thing: 8 ounces of grilled chicken, 70 grams of veggies, then maybe 1 cup, or I usually will split 2 cups of rice into 2 meals, because I'm usually somewhere in the 2 to 300 uh, carbs a day.
Uh-huh.
Uh, then so I'll be thinking chicken, veggies, rice, chicken, veggies, rice. That's gonna be for 2 or 3 meals. Then coming
Okay.
towards the night, what I'm feeling. Sometimes it's lean beef, sometimes it's stir fry beef, sometimes it's ground turkey, sometimes it's chickpea pasta with that. If my carb allowance is gone, then it's just gonna be that ground turkey, vegetables, and my shakes before and after the workouts, and that's it. I just repeat that cycle over and over.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Thanks for the advice.
Oh yeah,
I need it.
I'm,
I'm 50. I need all the
so
advice I can get.
just remember, I'm telling you, lean protein is the most important. Keep the meals as frequent as possible. Um, and make sure you have your greens. Make sure you have your fiber. Don't overdo it on the fats. And I really think that's the way to go. And there's
Okay.
macro
Awesome.
calculators. You can put in your info and find how many calories to have. So all good
Right.
stuff. I'll help you on the side. Don't
All right. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. Tell me some good TV shows and some good movies that you've been watching recently.
All right. So my most recent favorite movie in the Oscars this year, Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's
Oh, I
phenomenal.
haven't seen that yet.
Dude, just watch it. I'm not going to
It's
spoil
it's
anything.
on my list.
It's fantastic, dude. I mean, the emotions went through were crazy.
Okay.
And yeah, there's a little bit of everything. Great. The Whale was really good too. I just watched The Whale with Brendan Fraser.
Okay.
He really, and if that's by Darren Aronofsky, who wrote The Wrestler
Oh, he
and
did. Yeah.
directed. Yeah, so I mean, once I realized it was him, I knew it was going to be a home run. So those are my favorites there. Trying to think TV show wise, and I mean, I really like Tulsa King with Sylvester
Oh,
Stallone.
yo, that was so good, right?
I love
I
Sylvester.
couldn't believe how good it was.
Yeah, it was perfect. Everything about it was just spot on. I loved that show. Yeah, so that's like one of my first. I mean, my most recent favorites got to be there.
Yeah.
I watched Outsider with Jason Bateman. It's a Stephen.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
The Last of Us has been great. I got so into it. My fiance and I bought a PS5 and got the game. That's how like into it I got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the Your Honor with Bryan Cranston. Those are like the big four.
You're on. Okay.
Yeah,
No,
great.
no House of Dragon.
Nah, I tried with Game of Thrones. I did. I
It's just
couldn't
not for
do
you.
it. Just didn't bite. Yeah, and you think I would. No disrespect to great actors, but I just
Gotcha.
couldn't do it.
All right. I just saw Creed 3. You got to go check that out. That was great.
Yeah, yo, first two are great. I'll check out three. That's on
Yeah.
my watch
Yeah.
when I get
Oh,
home.
3 was definitely better than 2.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
heard. But I'm gonna check that. It's like by April that will happen.
Okay. And then when you see it, you think back and you're like, all right, you got Michael B. Jordan, who was Killmonger in Black Panther, and then you got Jonathan
Oh yeah.
Majors, who's Kang right now.
Yeah.
You got two Marvel villains in this movie, and it's their chemistry is so great in it. Like it's just amazing.
You get the preview.
Definitely check
So
it out.
yeah, that's how. I mean, that's. I'll watch it. I promise. I'll let once.
Okay, good, good. All right, let's go back into wrestling. How much? Oh, we got some time. Favorite venue that you've wrestled out of and why? I'm stumping you tonight.
I have to like think back. I've had some cool ones. I've done City Field. I was okay. It has to be City Field because
Oh,
I
okay.
was the first wrestling match ever in City Field ever.
Really?
Yes,
Talk
myself and
talk about
Grim.
that match.
Yeah, so that goes back. I think it was 2014. There was a big time wrestling show, and I was working with FTW at the time. Goldberg was there. Goldberg was at this one, and the long
Oh,
story, FTW worked. Had worked out a deal where we kind of like did a co-branded thing, and
mhm.
our show was on before their show. We had like a short couple match
Oh,
cards, so
wow.
pre-show kind of idea,
Right.
but we Grim Reaper and I were the first match on that card. And like I remember I turned to him like, I'm like, you realize no one else has ever wrestled here. Like we're gonna be the first ones to ever actually go out there and do this. He's like, oh, He's pretty fucking cool. Now every time I see him, that's what we talk about. But yeah, that's cool. I mean, I don't know. Like, we made history. I mean, and I've wrestled at the Barclays Center before. I've been in segments at UBS. That to me is the coolest one. I mean, aside from that, the Elks Lodge, like the Lowy, is just, I mean, because of its history screens. That's where I had that match again going. So that also holds a special place in my heart of venues.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about some goals you might have for 2023.
Yeah. So I mean, I've worked 2022. I worked for NWA, AEW, and I got booked for SmackDown, which was awesome because I did all three in the same year. My goal for 2023 is to continue dominating like I have been.
Right.
To be honest with you, I'm as healthier. I've had a lot of injuries in my career. That's what's I torn Achilles. I've torn both biceps. I've had double hernia surgery. I've been through quite a bit for my age. But now, I mean, like, knock on wood, I feel fantastic. The muscle mass is really coming on from the last, injury that I had. I've always been conditioned, but I'm really feeling. So I want to do more work with the NWA. I think the NWA doesn't get enough credit for the amount of talent it has. I think there's a little bit of an over focus on who the champion is, and I think that's even a little overblown.
Right.
With the net feedback, because they have one of the most loaded rosters. There's Chris Masters is there. Odinson is fantastic. And if aside from the talent in the ring, if you saw the minds that are backstage, it's a who's who of like some of the best brains in pro wrestling alive today. So for that reason alone, just to be that sponge, to guys like that, I'd like to do more time in NWA. I'd like to win gold in NWA. And the other company, obviously, that's on the list and the radar is AEW. Every single time I've been there, I've come closer and closer to a W. I have my name chanted by the audience. I hit one of the meanest headbutts you'll ever. And I feel the momentum picking up. So I want to do more work with AEW. I will do more work with AEW. The way I see 2023 going for me and into 2024 is who's going to give me that piece of paper and who has the cash to support it. That's how I see it going.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about going overseas and doing things in Japan or Europe or even Mexico?
So, I mean, actually going to be touring of the United States this year. I know I'm going to Virginia. I have a couple of other spots that I'm new companies I've been wanting to work for and work for again. So I'll be doing a little more of that. Japan has never been something like, what's funny to me is I do appreciate Japanese wrestling. I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but I was more of a fan of catch wrestling. I liked the European style. So for me, I more than Japan, if there's a bucket list for me, it would be to go over to Europe and wrestle over there. And that is 100% something that is on my list. And I also heard something about a Calgary wrestling company with a certain family that I think
I heard about that one too.
I
believe it's run by Brett's kids, right?
Yeah, and the fact that it's at Brett's bar, I mean, that's cool. I get down.
Who's cooler than the Hitman?
I mean,
who's
Brett's
cooler than the Hitman? Right?
I love Brett. I mean, dude, the things he says, he says to me and it cracks me up. And he's amazing.
Right. So. He's amazing. 100%. 100%. All right, Joe. Thank you for being on the show. Let's plug away your stuff.
Yeah. So
where are you going to be next?
Coming Saturday. This Saturday, I'm going to be Brooklyn and Finball. This is another awesome venue to wrestle. I'm wrestling Ocasio. He is newer to this, but he's very, very talented luchador. He's cousin Jorge Santi, wherever. And as much as he's talented and a good guy, I'm gonna stop him from his flips, drop him on his neck, punch him in the face, kick him in his face, and and I'm gonna headbutt his head off, and maybe I'll take the mask with me. It depends on the mood I'm having on Saturday.
Gotcha.
And then for the rest of all, I don't want to spend the whole day here after a match. I will just say, follow me on my socials. You can find me on Twitter, Joe_Ocasio. With Instagram, Joe_Ocasio. You can find my gym link, Joe's Result Zone, right there. Not only will you see my content, the promos, not only will you see match clips, but you'll see workout advice, and you'll see nutrition advice and all kinds of fitness and wrestling fun stuff on my pages. So I suggest you give me a follow. Oh, I'm even on TikTok. Same name,
Oh,
same
okay.
deal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
That's new to me. I feel
That's awesome. Now I got to plug away my stuff. I might be a little bit longer.
Go ahead. Go.
I've got the upcoming Victory Pro Wrestling Blood, Sweat, and 17-year anniversary show. That is my home promotion. Go to victoryprowrestling.com to get your tickets. BPW or sponsor any wrestler. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Say that again.
I love Johnny Collins.
Oh, Collins is the best. He's I'm gonna go into that right now. Let me talk about one more thing before I get into Johnny Collins. VSK is going to be at this show. Make sure you get your tickets. VictoryProWrestling.com. Also since VPW is my home promotion, I'll be doing interviews with some of the VPW stars throughout the month leading into April. There I am hanging out with the Victory Pro Wrestling sign. So make sure you stay tuned for those episodes. Some announcements coming soon on that. I got a big guest coming on in June. Billy Starks is coming on in June. I'm so excited to have her on the show. She's coming on. I got to support my new pal's upcoming match in March 25th. The big he's taking on Matt Cardona right there at the NYWC Sportorium. Make sure you get your tickets for Aftermath at New York Wrestling Connection. Oh, man. I'm not done yet. I'm going to be at the big horror event coming up this Saturday with Robbie Rebel. We're going to be there at our own table, as well as the Spring Fling in Philly, where FTR is going to be there. So make sure you check that out. I'm trying to be quick as I can. But let's get back to Johnny real quick. You ready? So we got the season premiere coming up of Vlog Interaction. It is with the 23-6 championship, the most coveted title in all of YouTube, which Johnny was a former champion, just so you know, Joe.
I know.
We got to find out what's going on with the title. Will the Solution still stick with it? Can he hang on to this championship, or is he going to lose it? There's a lot of contenders out there for this belt. It was handcrafted by a Bushman in the Outback in Australia. True story, Joe. True story.
Amazing.
Up next, I'm going. A Bushman, that's right. I will have Warhammer coming up next on his second podcast appearance. Oh, we got some comments, Joe. Hold on.
Sweet.
Serena says, yep, Michelle always talks about your gym. She's a sweetheart.
Oh, yeah. I love Michelle. She's awesome. She's done so well. She's had such a great transformation already.
Awesome. What's up, Joe and Dink?
What's up, Johnny?
Hi, Johnny. Oh, that's between them. Did I give you a... No, she didn't get a raise yet. No. Ryan sucks. Ryan's the current champion. We'll have to wait to check out Vlog Interaction for that. Joe, thank you for coming on. Hopefully you can come back on sometime later on this year.
Yep. Hopefully with more gold around my waist, baby.
More gold. We'll have some more conversations, all right?
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
No problem. Thank you for being on. Stick around for a moment. As for everybody else, we will be back in about 15 minutes with Warhammer. So stay tuned for that as Beyond the Barricade continues with a triple header tonight. One of the fastest rising podcasts out there, at least in my mind. But who knows? We'll see. Everybody, we'll see you guys soon.